Hello, everybody, and welcome to the growthgenesis podcast. This is episode 5, and we're going to be titling it Networking and Relationships. Wait, is that right? Yeah, it is. No, it's adapted to change. Sorry, we made a script for this that's like super long. Like, we have like the next episode's kind of like in a basic script format. I'm trying to pre-fire this, so apologies for that. I kind of want to leave this. I kind of want to leave this in the podcast and not cut it out because then it like just proves like we're just two dudes. Yeah, we'll do that. So
We're
episode 5.
Internet connection.
Yeah, and we're goofy. So I just voice cracked too, man. This is off to a fire start.
Welcome to the 976,000th episode of One Piece.
Oh man, I actually started One Piece, and I'm only 3 episodes in, and I'm saving it for my hospital bed when I have nothing else better to do. All right. Alrighty. So this episode's called "Adapting to Change." We're gonna talk about how business changes over these years, but we do want to preface this. At least I want to preface this. I've not been in the business space for a ton of time, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I mean, take really a lot of our episodes with a grain of salt. We're just being transparent in what we're thinking about. We're just trying to be honest, which I think is a huge deal. But we're not billionaires or anything like that, so take it with a grain of salt. But we're going to be talking about how adapting to change in the business landscape is crucial in our opinions, and we're going to kind of just be regurgitating some information, but hopefully we can provide some value for you guys today. So today I'm out of order, but we're your hosts. I'm Dan, and we've also got Paul here. So
Hey folks.
yeah, we're gonna get started. So I guess I'll start with you, Paul. Over these because you've had more experience than me, at least in the genre of business stuff by a couple of years or so. What would you say is how it's changed over these last couple of years?
Well, I feel like one elephant in the room that we have to get out of the way pretty much immediately is AI. That has been really making some big waves in the business industry. I know a lot of people have been kind of freaked out at the idea of AI taking everyone's jobs.
Being replaced.
And honestly, I don't really think that's something that most people need to worry about. But in the business space, from a business owner's perspective, I run a photography and a video production agency, and we specialize in content, like in web and social media content, promotional and commercial content for businesses. And on the photography side of things, wanting to get into brand photography, and more documentary type photography work. But from someone who owns a visual business, AI to me is really not that scary. I know a lot of people oh my gosh, okay, you have Midjourney and all these other ones that allows you to do AI image generation, which by the way, it still cannot get hands right. It just can't. AI plus hands is just nightmare fuel. But I'm not necessarily worried about it because visuals are important, but what AI cannot and never will be able to really accurately replicate is the intent behind the visuals. If you're making a commercial piece for a company, let's just say it's a shoe company, and they make hiking shoes and hiking boots and stuff like that. You can use AI to generate images, and then you can go manipulate those images in Photoshop, which you're still going to need someone to do, by the way. But that's not going to do any good when it comes to making a video commercial piece, because what you're really wanting to do is you're wanting to put your potential buyer in the shoes of a person who purchases and uses that product. Running with the shoe company idea. you want to use images and visual media combined with music, with sound, with voiceover, you're not wanting to just vomit information at a potential customer's face, because then it gives them information about the thing, but it doesn't give them any reason to buy the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And where the real intent behind what you're making comes in is when you can connect with them on an emotional level. You can put them in the shoes of the person who's wearing those, who's hiking to the tops of these mountains, who's experiencing these, epic, like, outdoor landscapes, who's not worried about like rolling their ankle and breaking it, or like getting their feet soaked in a river, or they're not worried about what's going to happen to them, what's going to happen to their feet, from like miles and miles and miles of hiking, because like they know that they have something that's reliable, that's comfortable, that's going to get them where they need to go when they need to get there. And um, AI just can't, like, yeah, it can generate images, but it can't generate the emotional intent behind the images. And
Yeah.
so from someone who owns a visual business, AI is not something I'm worried about. In fact, AI is actually has actually been quite helpful for me. Like, when I've used it to speed up the editing process. Um, I've used it to fix audio that didn't get captured correctly. I've used it for, like, captions. I know short form is huge nowadays, and you got to put captions on it, or people have the attention span of an actual goldfish, and they can't focus on it unless there's something moving constantly.
Yeah.
Um,
Insert a Family Guy clip on top of it.
yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, or like the freaking
GTA like car
GTA. Yeah.
crashing stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, this is the cringiest thing ever. But um like I've used it to great effect, like for SEO, um optimization, for social posts, for YouTube videos, for all kinds of stuff. And it's been great, but I think the idea of, oh, it's gonna like take over all of our jobs. No, it's not. Like, the human race will get sick and tired. It's already happening. We're already starting to get sick and tired of like AI generated crap everywhere that doesn't provide any value. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It doesn't have the human touch. It doesn't provide any value. It doesn't give AI generated content doesn't give you a reason, an actual legitimate, emotionally viable, sound, logical reason to do something.
Yeah.
And so um, I'm not super worried about it. I think it can be used to speed up and enhance, like, your work, make you able to do things much faster, much more efficiently. But will it replace stuff that's actually done by people? No, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. And just kind of want to throw some things out there. As scary as it might look and stuff, it's actually crazy to me. Like, I go on Pinterest all the time. I'm just a big image guy. I like cool images, whatever. Spend a
Yeah,
bunch of time on there, and it's weird how you can like. I mean, obviously you can tell it's AI, but like when you can tell, like it immediately makes the image less interesting. Like
yeah,
I don't. It's weird how that works. Like how our brains are just able to reciprocate that, and like yes, it does like look pretty accurate, especially if it's just images, not the videos like Sora's been pushing out. That you're still like, wow, this isn't that interesting. So like, yeah, it's definitely like I don't think it's in technology, which AI is technology. Um, yes, it's intelligence technically is what it's called, but it's technology. It's just supposed to enhance humans like abilities or whatnot. Like the tool you use, like a hammer, is technology technically, and so that's supposed to meant to enhance your workflow and stuff. And yeah, I would mostly agree with you, Paul. Like I don't think it's gonna take over like the world like everyone's thinking of. I think people are gonna get sick and tired of it, and you can already notice like it's meant to be a tool used for things, and I doubt it's gonna put a ton of people out of a line of work, especially if they can't gain the emotional retrospect out of it.
yeah.
Um,
And like even in trades, think about this. Like plumbers, electricians. Are you gonna have AI come wire your house? No.
yeah, and Yeah, I think the trades also, like, if you're not into business but you just like listening to this, which would be kind of an interesting choice to do with your time, but I don't judge. Trades is an excellent area. I don't know why I feel like I need to throw this out there, but I'm just saying, if you're looking for like, you're gonna have work and you're gonna get paid well for it, and you're not going anywhere, nothing's gonna. I mean, trades is a pretty solid and useful skill set to take outside of just work.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
like the world runs on trades.
yeah, whether you
Like
like it or not.
if you like okay, I run this company that does this super high level like internet marketing thing. Okay, cool, but you're useless if you don't have electricity.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
or like cool, but there's nowhere. Like people hate working here because they have to go across the street to this other place to use the bathroom because we don't have good plumbing. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. And yeah, by no means is this podcast ever supposed to be a diss on your typical day workers, because truthfully, this is not for everybody, and that's fine.
yeah,
So, if you're in the trades, or if you're almost, I would say, unless you're like an OnlyFans girl or something, like your work is essential in our day to day stuff, and we appreciate that. So, by no means has this ever been a. I don't want to ever be like some of the extremists on the internet. Like, if you don't run your own business, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you can't just work a job. It's like, all right, man. Like, come on now. But
like if we don't have people that work regular jobs, like okay, like if we don't have people that repair cars, if we don't have people that work at the grocery stores, if we don't have people that that help file taxes, or we don't have people that do those kinds of things, then like okay, cool. We all have like massive problems as a society now. No one's working at the grocery stores, so
which I
like
also, not to plug in, sorry to cut you off, but not to plug in like politics or anything. We need to work on the economy. Come on, like,
that's a fact.
holy moly, like, people are not making what they should be in any line of work right now. Like,
Oh, it's insane.
and,
It's
and the
absolutely insane.
and there's like old people who are like, these kids just don't know how to work. It's like, also, you cannot live off of, like, in Iowa, our minimum wage is $7.50 an hour. You cannot live off of that.
Not even close.
And the job market's so bad right now at the moment. No one wants to hire because the economy's so
Yeah.
booty that no one wants to hire, and people just, they're not getting what they're not getting what they frankly deserve, which is more than that. You Minimum wage should at least be able to cover
You're
minimal
living.
minimal living expenses. It should be able to cover your rent
Yeah.
and your food and your utilities.
You should be able to stay alive on minimum wage, and that's just not like okay for your minimum wage at what it's at. You'd have to be working like 300-hour work weeks, and I don't even think there's that many hours in a week.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, I don't like. You could maybe, if you work two jobs, you could maybe barely stay above the line, and if not, you would still be going slightly into debt. You might be able
Yeah.
to, like, you be able to live somewhere, but like, it's gonna be rough. And we we as a country, and I'm not gonna, at least personally, I'm not gonna spew up politicians' names or anything, so I don't want to get on anyone's bad side or anything like that, because that's not the goal here. But we need to get this under control as a country. Like, this is bad. It
Seriously.
it is, and you know you can, and people, especially if you're in the older generation, I feel like it is wrong to look at younger generations, especially if they are working, be like, well, you're just not working hard enough or whatever. Like, bro, like, they are working, and they should be able to live while if they're working 40 hours a week for minimum wage, they should be able to live. Like, they
Yeah.
should be able to live. Like, it should be a requirement. Like, I don't know. That
I am so tired of the like oh kids these days just don't want to work thing, and then it's like oh they're lazy, they don't want to work, and then you look at the jobs that are out there and they're like requirements for employment: master's degree, base pay $15 an hour.
yeah, it's like, what, like,
Oh,
and
like no.
school prices are going up. I mean, holy, like, it's just an entourage of things. House prices are going up. I mean, you cannot lock in a good interest rate on a home right now.
Fuck
Um,
you.
People are raising their rent prices because they need to also make a profit off of what they're doing. Like, it is not a good situation to be in right now. Healthcare is obviously like it's been for the past years. I mean, I would rather like try to sew my arm back together than go in an ambulance at the moment because it's so expensive. Like, we need to figure some things out here. So that's enough rambling with the politics and the state of the world. But I guess it's kind of important to put our opinions out there, and
It is
hopefully we can all
because
agree on some of this.
the way the way that business is changing is like business is in an area or is in a place right now where it's honestly like forced to change, not just because of new technological advancements, but because of how crap the economy is. Like everyone's having to scale things up a lot more than previously just to be able to live.
Yeah, yeah, and businesses are going under, and they need to let go of employees, and those employees have families. It's not a good situation for anyone, and that includes businesses. I mean, there's maybe some businesses out there like Tesla or Amazon that are always going to be in the blue at some, like they might, but it's for especially these small businesses like it. I cannot. It's rough for people out there, regardless if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, or just an employee. It is not a great time to be working at the moment. But and that's not to say that there aren't people that are lazy in this generation, but it's also to say like if kids are kicked out of their house right now and they gotta work, like they cannot do very well right now, regardless if they work 50, 60, 70 hours a week, 80-hour weeks, like
It still sucks. It just does.
and
Um,
the trade-off of being a regular employee, like, and here's what I believe, like with business and regular employees, and I kind of want to just because I was thinking about this earlier, I kind of want to set this in stone. Like, regardless if you're an employee or if you're a business owner, you trade your time for money, kind of. I mean, when you scale business, obviously you can trade money for time, but um, it's what I believe is like if you're going to be working and making a good amount of money and stuff like that, um, you're trading off large hours of your time that you can't really work
you
around
can't,
too much. You can't
yeah,
just like do whatever you want, but you're trading that also off for a livable income. So it's a fair trade. Like, by no
yeah.
means is that not a fair trade. But at the moment, it's not fair. Let's be honest. I want to set that clear. It's not fair trade right now because
No, not at all.
you're
Because
trading
the amount,
40
the
hours a
amount,
week to go into debt.
yeah, the amount of time that you would have to trade to be able to live without going into debt is insane. You would have, like, in this current economy, you would have no life outside of your work.
Yeah, it's like
Like, unless you just, like, literally don't sleep, which is a terrible idea. Don't do that. I tried that for, like, 6 months and it almost killed me. So,
yeah,
um, I'm not even kidding. It straight up almost killed me. So, like, don't do
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
But, like, think about it this way. I have zero problem with people doing what they need to do to make enough money to live. Like, if that's working a regular 9 to 5 with overtime and whatnot, then you know, good on you. I commend you. If that is what you got to do, then cool, you're doing what you got to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's developing a business and working really hard to scale it and grow it, then I commend you. That's awesome. The problem I personally, and I'm not saying this to diss anyone else on planet Earth, the problem that I personally have with the whole trade time for money thing is if you trade time for money, you're not actually really helping a lot of people. And you are giving something that you will never be able to make back for something that you can always make more of.
yeah,
Like you are giving up. Like I have thought long about this when I've been like, okay, do I get a regular job or do I try to, like make this whole business thing work? I thought long and hard about that. And in the long term, I would much rather be running a business or operating something where I trade value for money, not time for money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know time is something I'm never going to be able to get back, and I want to be able to spend as much time with my wife, with my kids, um, with family, doing things that I enjoy, doing things that fill me and my family up, doing things that are good for humanity. Like that's what I want to spend my time doing, and I can't
Mm-hmm.
do that if I'm spending my time, if I'm trading my time just to make enough money to keep my head above water.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you have something that is valuable, be it like if you have an idea that's valuable, you have a skill set, um, then even if you can only set aside 2 to 3 hours a week, start trying to figure out how to do something with that. And one of the biggest things that has really helped me, especially lately, being in a position where I'm trying to rebuild my business, is if you have something like I have a skill set in photography and filmmaking, um, and I can help people with that, is approach people with the desire to serve, not earn.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you approach it all the time with, oh, I have to make this amount of money, oh, I have to earn this, I have to, I have to make this amount of money, people are going to be like, you're only here for the money, you don't actually care about what you're trying to help me do, you know whereas
Yeah.
if you come to them and you go, hey, I see what you're doing, I really like what you're doing, you could use some help in these areas, I want to help you, then they'll go, okay, great. And like maybe they don't have a lot of money, like maybe they only have a couple $100 or whatever to pay you, that's still something.
Yeah.
That's better than spending spending more time to make the same amount of money doing something you hate. You know,
Yeah.
meet people where they are at and serve them with the idea or the skill set that you have, and eventually that will grow into more people and more people and more people. Which then you can start raising your prices, being like, hey, I run this as a business. This is what it costs me to run. So like I have to make this amount of money to be able to actually like do anything you know, and
Mm-hmm.
and that will grow. But you need to grow your network first before you can grow your net worth.
Yeah.
And in order to grow your network, you have to approach people and approach prospects, clients, whoever. Approach the market with your solution
With the
in a
intent to
way,
serve. Yeah.
yeah, with the intent to serve, not the intent to get as much money possible.
Yeah. And
And so I guess to to make a conclusion and get off my soapbox, if you have something valuable, go serve people with it.
mm-hmm. And you can do that on the weekend. I think
Yeah,
it's important for a human being to have a passion. And if working a normal job and just getting the weekends to work on your passion is enough for you, by all means do that and commend.
yeah,
And I'm commending you for that. That's not. It's by no means a diss or anything. But I just strongly believe in people who fuel their passions with their time and their money. And if to get that time and money, you need to work a job that gives you the weekend off and money to pay for it, by all means, go for it. You don't need to start a business and risk it all. If that's not for you, then do not do it. But what I really want to say is, and this is something I thought about a lot when I was really like debating if this is what I wanted to do, was you need to look at life as a game and a trade. And this is how I see it. When you're looking at a regular employment under a job, you are trading 40 hours a week for, I mean, not right now, but I'm just saying in the hypothetical, you are
yeah,
trading 40 hours a week for a weekend off. I mean, 2, 3 days of the week off, and you're trading but you're giving 40 hours of your time, focus, and and work
energy.
and skills
Yeah,
for you to be able to live the rest of that time fully. And that is the trade. And if you look at that and you break it down and say, would you rather do this, or there's the entrepreneurial journey, which is it's going to take way more than 40 hours a week
yeah,
to start. I mean, you can't start. I mean, you won't move as fast as you want to if you don't give it all that time. It's going to take financial risk. You're not going to be able to You're not going to be able to make sure if you're going to be able to live another week in the place you rent. You're not going to be able to know if you could put groceries on your debit card. You might have to put it on a credit card and pay that 30% interest. You're not sure if you're going to have any time to feel like fun things like video games or whatnot. And speaking from experience, like I love video games and I love spending time doing things that are fun and whatever. And I mean, I'm in my 20s. I got friends and stuff, but you got to be willing to make trades. So are you going to trade more time, less money right now for something bigger down the line? Is that something you want to do? Or is it, I'm okay with giving it 40 hours a week, but I get the security. It's like an investment. It's like sitting down with an investor. Do you want to invest risky or not? And there's no wrong answers in my opinion. It's only just what fits you.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean, me and Paul, both, our parents worked normal jobs, like, and that is by no means a diss or anything. And they were able to, and you could still provide value to people working a normal job. It's definitely not out of the question. I mean, Paul's dad was served in the police and state patrol and stuff. That is obviously serving people. And my dad serves. Well, I've had two dads. Not to throw out a bunch of lore right now, but my current dad at the moment, he serves special needs kids at school. That is obviously serving people, and you can do that in a job. If that's your passion, by all means, go for it, bro. Like, it's just looking at, do I want to waste? Do I want to spend, not waste, do I want to spend all of my time, all of my money, all of my perceived amount of effort and stuff for something that will serve me sooner and that will give me the freedom I want later? Or am I willing to give 30 years or more or less, depending on what you work, what field you are, to this, to have the security and this isn't by any means financial advice, but if you have like a family and kids and stuff right now, like, you got to think about this like 10 times more tactically because you've got people depending on you.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people that I've heard, like, I watched this video and they're like, well, what makes a man? And I mean, or what makes a strong woman? This is by no means any sexist or anything like that.
No, we're not gender specific.
No, it's, what makes you a woman and what makes you a man. And I think especially with the man, with moving into I mean, your typical like family, the way typical families are built. If you're a single mom, obviously you assume the role of whatever. I've had both, so I kind of understand that. But it's like, it's when you become responsible for other people, I think is like what they said. And I think that's actually pretty important. If that's you become responsible for your employees and you're still single, or if you become responsible for your wife and your kids, or for your disabled parents, or for whatever it is that's the moment you become a man. And I kind of agree with that. Yeah. Is because, and then if you're still on the fence, if you're like, let's say you're 25 years old, you had your first kid, and you're with your wife and stuff, and right now you're working in pest control or whatever, but you want to go into a business, like, this is where you got to really think tactically, because it's going to be hard for the family if you just go out willy-nilly in it. Maybe it's best to just like, hey honey, we got to cut all of our monthly expenses like Netflix, Hulu, whatnot for this next 2 years. I'm going to save up a boatload of money and I'm going to try to go into something more passionate about. And then, you got to think about this much more tactically. But I just wanted to preface this because this is the exact framework of thought that I went through. Do I want to trade this or do I want to trade that? Do I want to trade 40 hours a week or do I want to trade 80 hours a week right now and all my time and focus? Like, what do I want to trade? What are the tangible things that I want to trade? And truthfully, I picked the business stuff because what I want in the end is being able to do freedom and do something I feel passionate about, and that's just the way it is. But this is by no means a diss on anything, and man, did we go off the rabbit trail today. But that's okay, because this episode is adapting to change, and at least speaking for myself, we don't have a ton of experience, but that's just something I feel like I wanted to point out. And truthfully, this is a podcast. It's not like I'm not just trying to follow a script here. We're here to have fun but provide value at the same time. So
yeah, exactly. And like one of the things that I has definitely helped in the like decision to go like more head on into business, at least for myself, has been the fact that I already had a good chunk of money to work with. Like when my wife Rachel and I got married, we had saved for a while. Like we had like 20K between the two of us in savings, which helped a lot. But we'd done that from working regular jobs and doing our business stuff on the weekends. Like this is the beginning of year 6 for me in my business, and 4 out of the 6 years has been
Working another job.
um, has been working another job and doing my business on the weekends.
Yep.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And I do want to preface right now, while we're on the topic of it, there was a point in where I was just trying to work by myself, but at this current moment, I do actually work a normal job, and
Yeah.
I've been doing this on the side because I need to be able to afford to live at the moment. It's just what makes sense. It doesn't make sense for me to go a ton into debt right now, and just while nothing's catching traction, you can give. I've been giving as much effort as I can while I'm at work or while I'm at home on my business, but there's actually nothing wrong with that. It was a little disheartening at first because it felt like I was going backwards. It's like, oh man, I'm working another job that I don't like. But you got to do what you got to do. And these first couple of years are going to be ruthless. They're going to be hard. Like Rocky says, it's going to beat you. It's going to beat you to your knees, and it's going to keep you there if you let it. And so with this business stuff. So truthfully, I stopped looking at the short term of working a job I don't really like, and I don't want to get into the details of what it is or anything like that. That could be for a different time. But I'm gonna trade that. But I'm gonna keep moving forward. It's just like you don't have to dish it all out right away. And to come back to the last episode when we were talking about mentorship, this is one of my only few regrets. At the moment, and I truthfully don't believe in holding regrets very much. But
Me neither.
my mentor told me to work a job and do real estate on the side until it got kicking up, and then switch to it full time. I did not do that. I sat there and thought, I think I know better. So I just went and I quit my job, and I haven't made a dime from real estate yet. And just saying, if I listened to him, probably would be in a slightly better financial spot at the moment. But, can't turn back time, and that's just part of learning. So listen to your mentors. They know what they're talking about. So, but yeah, I don't know what else we really have to cover. I guess discuss the importance of staying updated and adapting to evolving trends. Like adapt or die. Like it's just like the way human life has always been. You can't chase a guy with a gun with a rock and expect to win a fight. Like,
It's just not going to work. I feel like AI is probably going to be the thing that people think of immediately in the whole like adapt or die thing. But to be perfectly honest, that is like a small thing. As far as I'm concerned, that's a small thing in terms of the like larger scale adapt or die.
mm-hmm.
And I kind of touched on this earlier a little bit, but like adapt to what the economy is currently doing, um, so that you can actually make sure that you are able to meet costs. Um, but also, like other people are having to look for other things. Like the market is changing because of where the economy is currently at. Priorities aren't what they used to be. Like people are focused on different things because
Yep.
stuff has been getting more and more and more expensive. People are focused more on the necessities and things that they need rather than stuff that's interesting that they want. So I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest things that you can do to adapt is like whatever business you're in, whatever service you offer or product or whatnot, um, either change your product or change your marketing to really accentuate the essential and necessary value of what it is
Mm-hmm.
that you have. Like whatever your product or your service is, turn it into something that people need rather than want.
But also believe in it. Do not scam people.
Yeah, no, please do not scam people. Please do not scam people. But um, yeah, like you obviously you have to believe in what your product or your service is. Um, and kind of like a rule of thumb that I have kind of developed for myself. I don't remember hearing this anywhere, so I'm gonna assume that I made it up, but I mean, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Is if your product or your service is not something you yourself would buy, you have a terrible service or product.
Yeah,
Like,
I have
like
heard other people say that, but I mean, I'm definitely sure you thought of that yourself. So
yeah, like if I wouldn't hire me to do
my job.
what I yeah, if I wouldn't hire me to do what it is I do, then I know I have a problem.
Yeah.
And like with a lot of the commercial work that I have done before, a lot of it was focused on this like really luxury real estate, oh, this is stuff that you want. But now with the changing economy, it's been like, okay, I'm focused on helping organizations, businesses, companies, etc., grow their revenue, um, like grow their revenue and grow their profits by getting their name out there, getting their business out there, and helping them scale that. And that's gone from a something that they want to something that they need, because like they need more people coming in the door to be able to meet costs and still make a profit, like enough profit so that the whoever owns the business or the people who work there can afford to go home and put food on the table, because of the economy where it's at, that has become a need. And so now I've changed the way my service works, and I've changed how I'm pitching it to being like, oh, you could make more money and like live this way that you want to live. And it's like, no, you straight up need to survive now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I can help you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's been a big thing, because what I was used to for so long was connecting with potential buyers on an emotion, like doing luxury real estate, connecting with potential buyers on a like on an emotional basis, putting them in the shoes of someone who owned these luxury pieces of property and being like, okay, this could be you, this is something you want. And now my focus is more like, oh, you run a business, okay, this is what it costs you to run that business every month or like for a year. You need to be able to scale that, because the prices of everything is going up now, and you have to be able to afford to keep your lights on and live. And so here's how we work to increase your revenue, increase your profit, so that you can afford to keep food on the table and lights on in your own house, or like pay your employees without having to lay people off and put other people in a world of hurt. It's been going from like, oh, this person wants to make more money, to no, this person needs to make more money, so here's
Yeah.
how we do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the biggest way that you can adapt today. Is like, it's not like, oh, I got to integrate AI or I'm dead. Like, that's not entirely true. You'll be operating a lot slower without fully integrating AI in a lot of ways. But the biggest, I think, most critical adaptation that needs to be made is, if you offer a product or a service, turn it into something that people need. And
Yeah.
if your product or service is not something that people need, get rid of it and do something else. Like,
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Or change it.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, get rid of it or change it, so that your product or service now becomes something that is needed, not wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Because people nowadays are acting out of necessity and
exactly,
stuff.
that's my soapbox.
Yeah. And um, before Grant Cardone became a course selling master and kind of a goofy goober nowadays.
The cringe bag that he is. Yeah.
Yeah, when he used to be a actual A-tier seller, like he used to be good. I mean, he's a billionaire, so of course he's good at something, right? Like, can't be a total moron and not then be a billionaire by chance. I mean, he's getting there, but he he was an A-tier seller, and I have one of his books called Sell or Be Sold, and he talks about how when he was getting into sales, large ticket sales and stuff, or anything, he would buy the product first before he'd start selling it, which is super interesting. And I'm not at the financial area. I actually buy what I sell, but I do believe in it by any means. Um, but he was like, yeah, when I would sell luxury, I don't even know if it was vacuums or something, but my mentor used to sell vacuums. They would buy it themselves because they believed in the product that much. And
Yeah.
if you are out there selling hoo-ha nilly-willy garbage and just selling it, you actually probably won't see success. And I truthfully feel kind of bad because for the people you're selling it to, because if you don't believe in it, you're probably on the edge of verge of scamming them.
Yeah.
That like you will be a better seller. It's been like statistically known the better sellers are the people who are more enthusiastic about the product and actually believe in it.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
with me selling solar panels, like I believe in the necessity of solar panels. I mean, it's renewable energy. It comes for free. Like we're not generating it from really anything, and it's just
Yeah.
getting better and better and more efficient and stuff. And the company that I'm with that provides me the ability to sell that I do this consulting stuff for, I actually do believe in them. They're very reputable from what I've heard. And I tried to look into all of that from a customer standpoint, not just from a business standpoint. I truly believe in it. Like I believe in this product and stuff. And that's something that if you're getting into sales, not necessarily just entrepreneurship, but into sales, which sales is kind of a backbone. It is a backbone of entrepreneurship or business.
Yeah.
Is believe in the product that you're selling. Almost every business guru has touched on that a little bit. I believe that from what I remember is because like you can't have someone going like, "This is Bill's bread shop," you know, and try to sell you bread, but they truthfully hate the taste of it and it tastes awful. Rather than someone's like, "This is Bill's bread shop," you know, whatever. Love the way the bread tastes, whatnot. I mean, obviously, this is definitely not how you should. That was definitely not how you should. If you're trying to sell bread, that's not how you should do any of it.
Yeah.
But,
Don't do it that way.
but
like your point still stands. Like if you're trying to sell bread and people are like, what's it, you know, and people ask, you know, have you tried it? Or, you know, like you're like, you can be like, this is the best bread ever, but if you won't eat it, then it's not the best bread ever and you're lying about it. You know?
yeah. And do you really feel good about yourself doing that?
No.
No, you do not. At least speaking for myself,
If you're not some kind of like psychopathic, sociopathic dingbat, then yeah, you don't feel good about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, most drug dealers don't use the product; they just sell it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
yeah, it's just wild, I guess. But by no ways am I saying you should go into drug dealing because you like drugs and sell it.
Please don't. Please don't.
Man, I just love crack and I need to sell it. No.
No. Please don't.
We're not financial advisors or business advisors yet at the moment, so bear with us.
And
so
even when we do become business advisors, we are never going to advise anyone to start selling crack. Like, just don't. It's not a good idea.
we're not gonna end up in a trial with you saying that we helped you decide to do that. Imagine that. Yeah, these guys from a podcast told me to sell crack, so I sold crack and I got caught. So now I'm gonna sue them. It's like, yeah, I don't really want to be there. I'm not sure if that's the court system works like that, but
we'll just refer them back to this episode. Be like, go listen to this episode where we specifically stated that we do not endorse this in any way, shape, or form.
Oh man, we've kind of touched base on all of our points today, and it's been a little bit of a rabbit trail today. But honestly, I kind of enjoyed that a little bit. Just been real, spilling off the mic a little bit, and you know, we don't have a ton of experience. Maybe we'll do a redo of this episode 2 years from now, where maybe somebody invented, I don't even know, something, and it changed the business game a lot. We'll come back to this and be like, back when AI was a big deal, and now we'll come back. You know, we'll see how it all goes. But we want to thank you guys for sticking with the podcast today. We're obviously your hosts, Dan and Paul. If you guys haven't joined the Discord server, it is in the link in our Linktree bio, or on. I haven't put it on our YouTube channel yet, but join that if you want to actually get in direct contact with me or Paul in any way, shape, or form. That's where we can actually, you know, message you, or you can do it through the Instagram account at growthgenesis podcast. Yeah, we'd love to get in contact and start networking with you guys if that's something you guys want to do. By no means is there any other obligations. Like, this is a free to join community. We're not gonna make this paid. I don't believe it. I don't believe in doing that. So
Nope.
maybe in the future we'll do some where it's like when we're more and more advanced, and we need to like, and it takes a lot of time to put it. Maybe we'll do a different one. But this Growth Genesis Discord server is free to join, free to use. Enjoy it. See how we can provide value to you, and maybe you can meet some potential business partners, other podcast partners. We're just here to provide value. So yeah, if you want to join that, link will be in the description, along with our Spotify and any other socials that we have at the current moment. And yeah, we'd love to see you guys for the next episode. Any other final words there, Paul?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well,
I think we're good. Just keep going. If you're in business, put one foot in front of the other. Look at the market and figure out what people actually need, and then go do that.
Yep. But
don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk while you're doing it, and definitely do not start selling crack
or any harsh drugs for that matter, or really any drugs. Unless you're a pharmaceutical expert, do not sell drugs. You will get caught, and it will be a very painful experience for you, and we are not endorsing this by any way, shape, or form.
If you go do something stupid and you get yourself in trouble with the law, we are not in any way, shape, or form responsible for that. So, yeah.
We might show up at your court case and make jokes about it, but we are by no means going to stand with you on any of this. So,
we'll show up at your court case.
If this actually happens, and this somehow, like, through this podcast, someone thought it was a good idea to sell crack and gets caught, and it ends up in a big court case. Paul, I say we spend the time, go down there, make a YouTube video of it. we're not gonna dox the person or do anything like that, but I think that'd be really funny. Just
sit down there and make like really stupid jokes the entire time until the judge inevitably gets pissed off at us and throws us down.
Oh man. This guy's on a podcast called Growth Genesis told me to sell crack. Obviously.
It's like, no, actually, you just have selective hearing and you're an idiot. And so you decided to do something that's very illegal, even though the guys on the podcast, who are sitting over there snickering at you, by the way, specifically stated in their podcast that they do not endorse that in any way, shape, or form, and that it's a terrible idea and you should not do it.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Well, we want to thank you guys for listening into our rambling and our jokes and whatnot, and hopefully we've provided value for that. Provided you some value. Sorry, my brain is falling apart. And we'll see you guys next week.
Take care, folks.
Take care. Bye-bye.